crisis punched me in the face. Now I'm in this process of figuring out what's my next move. What am I going to do next? And I think a lot of people are stuck in that second phase of crisis where they're waiting. They're playing the waiting game, where they're experiencing inertia. Like, have you said to yourself, like, it doesn't seem like things are happening as fast as I want them to be? How many of you have you said that? Yeah, that's because they're not. That's because you've been stuck in this middle process, right? And what we've got to do is we got to get out of that waiting game, and we've got to get into productivity. Productivity. That's the shift that has to take place in your life. See, the very word momentum means strength or force gained by motion, by a series of events. And we get the picture when we talk about momentum of a wagon going down a hill, and as it goes down the hill, it gets faster and faster and faster. That's the mode that you want to be in 2023. Can you post yes if that's the way you want to be in 2023? Where you get things moving, you get things going. Well, in order for that to happen, excuse me, there has to be a shift. There has to be a shift in that I want you to be in a momentum where you're not waiting on the sidelines, but you're in this new momentum of where you're experiencing one success after the next success. So I want you in a flow of success. And when you get in a flow of success, have you ever noticed when things just keep going good in your life, that you just keep getting more good in your life, right? I've got this friend of mine, and I've really been working on him. He gave his life to the Lord this year. He was an alcoholic, and he gave his life to the Lord because I believe in a real simple principle. Make a friend, be a friend, and then lead a friend to Christ. And so that's what I made a friend. The guy was an alcoholic. I was just his friend. And then I led this friend to Christ. And so I've been working on him and discipling him, and I've been hanging out with him to help him change his life. And when he hangs with me, he kind of says, man, it just seems like, you just expect everything great to happen to you, and it just happens to you. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly right. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand about your life. You always expect negative stuff to happen, and you're in this negative flow of negative stuff always happens to you. And so it's all about really, it's about your mindset and getting in life, getting in a pattern where success is flowing to you regularly. And so here's what we know, right? When we're in momentum, how many of you experience seasons of your life where everything seems to be going right? Raise your hand if that's you. Yeah, man, everything's going right. And it feels good, doesn't it? It's like life is super duper exciting like that. But then how many of you also experienced a season where you had no momentum? Like you weren't the you weren't the wagon going down the hill. You felt like the train going up, the biggest mountain in the world, right? Like I think I can, right? And it's like, I don't have any momentum at all. Well, here's what I know about momentum. When you have momentum, you look better than what you really are. When you got the big mo on your side, man, you just look like a star. But here's what I also know. When you don't have momentum on your side, you will look worse than what you really are. And may I pose to many of you today that are here, I want you to think about, which season am I in right now? Am I in a season where I've got momentum and I'm experiencing one success after the next success? Or am I in this season where, man, I'm like not experiencing success. I'm not hitting my targets. I'm not in that positive flow. You know whether you're in it or whether you're not in it. And I believe that the majority of people are not in the flow of momentum where they're getting one success after the next success. And so I want to help you to be able to get it back. Because when a train, think about a train going down the tracks. When that train is going down the tracks, once it gets up to speed, I mean, a semi-truck can pull out in front of the tracks, and guess what that train's going to do? That train is going to plow right through and annihilate a semi. But at the same token, that same train, if it's not in motion, if it's just sitting at the track, guess what? One little pebble can stop the train from moving forward. Isn't that interesting? So it is in our life, is that when we have momentum, we can crash through any roadblock, right? Obstacles that get in our way, they seem just like little anthills. But when we don't have momentum, any little thing in our life becomes like this big mountain. And eventually it could, steal us of our faith, our confidence, our excitement, and keep us from smashing through to crush our goals for the year. So we want acceleration, we want speed, because wealth has a need for speed. Just like Tom Cruise has a need for speed on his motorcycle or speed in his supersonic jet, wealth has a need for speed. Even God has a need for speed. He says, now faith is. Now. Man, God operates in the now. But here's what I'll tell you. Money, wealth, God, success, love, speed, but it hates friction. It hates friction. So we're going to have to realize that there are some things that are slowing us down, and we have to acknowledge that. So I want to share with you 5 things, right, to get in this new mode of momentum for success that I think is critical for 2023. Number 1, you must identify your mental and behavioral state. So there's 3 modes or 3 states that people are in. Number 1, they're either in a maintaining state. Number 2, they're in a maintenance state. Or number 3, they're in a momentum state. Now let me clarify what that means, okay? So when you're in just a maintaining state, that means that you're just kind of satisfied with where you are. You're keeping the status quo, and you're trying not to rock the boat. So in your life, like if you're in ministry or you're in business, you're just trying to maintain everything in hopes that the world's going to change pretty soon, and then you can make a shift. You're playing the whole thing where, well, I've got a staff member that is not performing well, so I'm just going to pray, I'm going to hope, that they just get better. And so let's just maintain what we got because, if we fire them, if we get rid of them, it's going to cause some commotion. I'm going to have to train another person. And so what do? We keep them on and say, let's just maintain until we get through this. That's maintenance. So guess what? If you're maintaining, here's what I know. You haven't fired anybody for a long time. Because listen, if you're progressing, if you're moving forward, if we got to get into momentum. We got to get speed going on. We got to get you moving. And I have some big goals and big dreams. Here's what I know. There's some people who just aren't going to cut the mustard. And if you haven't fired anybody for a long time, here's what I'm telling you. You're probably, I can almost bet, you're just maintaining. When you're maintaining, you're not making any changes. You're not making any changes in your thoughts. You're not making any changes in your systems. You're not making any change in your life. You don't want change. You just want to maintain what is. It's the status quo. Now, the key word for people who are in the maintenance state of mind is I'm waiting or I'm just in neutral. And with Christians, it's like I'm just twiddling my thumb and I'm waiting for God to bring change. That's called neutral. God gave you power. God gave you authority. You are the one who is the leader. You are the warrior. You are the captain. You are the action taker. You are the hero to your group. You point the way. You rock the boat. The second one is maintenance. Maintenance mode. This mode is where you're in a continual cycle of just putting out fires. It's like a maintenance man, right? You get the picture of a maintenance man. He's going around, I got to fix this light bulb, I got to fix this, I got to do this, I got to do that. And it's constantly like moving around and you're in maintenance. It's like I'm fixing things that are broke. That's called maintenance. And whenever you're just in maintenance mode, when tough times come, what you do is you contract. That's the key word in maintenance. Like, okay, I'm just going to fix what's broken, and we're not going to expand. We're just going to continue to work on fixing what's broken. We're not going to create anything new. Then there's momentum. What's momentum? Momentum has a Joshua and Caleb spirit. The Bible says these were men of another spirit. They were the ones who looked at the promised land and said, we are well able to possess the land. These are the ones that were taking new territory in their older age. And I know some of you on here that are with me, some of you are listening to me, some of you are in their 40s, 50s, 60s. And we cannot move into, like a lot of people, like the culture. We cannot move into a retirement mentality. That's not the kingdom. We're not going to move into maintaining. We're not going to move into maintenance. Because I'm going to tell you, it's detrimental to you. Your future is going to be expensive, and we've got to be ready for it so we can live the abundant life. I want to be the Caleb who towards the end of his life, when he's in his 80s, is still saying, I'm strong. I'm well able. Give me my mountain. He's still in a mentality of take over. Not in this thing of surrender, give in. No. I'm going to keep pushing the envelope. That's how you get momentum. I'm going to conquer some new territory. I'm going to take some new territory. Oh, come on, let's say that to ourselves. I'm going to take some new territory. Post that down below. I'm going to take some new territory. That's right. That's the mode I need to be in. And if I'm in that mode, I'll experience momentum because why? Because just like I said, now you're activating new events. That's how momentum gets moving, right? Because I said to you, it's a series of events that happen. That you just don't settle in the wilderness. What happened when they settled in the wilderness? It lasted 40 years of just maintaining, getting just enough to take care of themselves. But God needs us to shift into, no, wait a minute, I'm going to be in momentum mode. And so I've got to make sure that I'm taking new territory, I'm getting clear, and I'm taking massive action in my life. The key word for momentum is expansion. Expansion. And I want you to hear me loud and clear, all those of you who follow me. All the forces of hell over these next 2 years are going to try to get you to contract. The world is trying to invoke fear on you and get you scared. And if you're a kingdom person, you must resist all voices. You must resist all thoughts of contraction. And you've got to be in a mentality of expansion. Those who have a mentality of expansion are the ones that are going to thrive. This is not the moment for us to set back. This is a moment for us to move forward. So, you got to identify, where am I mentally? Where am I in my behaviors? Am I in a mental state of, I need momentum? I need to get momentum back. How do you get momentum? Just like that wagon, you push the wagon. You get the wagon moving. That's what the word inertia is. Inertia is that every object will remain right where it's at unless acted upon by an outside source. Your life will remain the same unless you decide, man, you know what? I'm not going to be in maintenance mode. I'm not going to be in maintain mode. I'm going to be in momentum mode. Therefore, man, I'm going to take massive action, and I'm going to get my little wagon. I'm going to get it moving. And there's two forces behind me. Number one, God. Number two, your hands, your feet, your mouth, getting in alignment with heaven for increase, influence, and impact in the world. If you're in agreement with that, post yes down below. I hope you are. I hope you are. The second thing I want you to be aware of is don't lose days, months, or years because of discouragement. Don't lose days. I could even say it this way. Don't lose hours. Don't lose days. Don't lose months. Don't lose years because of discouragement. Part of getting your momentum back is understanding how to deal with discouragement. It's very interesting in 1 Kings. You remember the prophet Elijah, he got discouraged at the threats of Jezebel. And he said in verse 4, he says, man, He says, I've had enough. I love that. This is enough. I've had it. Have you ever been there? And he's like, I've had it. I've had enough of all these attacks. And he just kind of says, I just wish I was dead. Hey, isn't that encouraging for all of us? That sometimes in our life, right, we can get so discouraged that we want to quit, that we want to give up. And here's what I want to encourage you with, right, is that when you take dis off, you got one word, which is courage. And what you need in your life again is courage. That even though you've been knocked back, even though you've been fighting to move forward, you need courage to get back up again. And you'll find that the angel came and strengthened him and fed him to give him strength to complete the journey. And so words are encouragement, encouraging words. And I just want to be your angel today. I want to be your angel that comes with a word from heaven for you to say, listen, I know you've been through a lot. I know it feels like you've been hitting your head up against the wall and getting no results at all. But I want to come and I want to feed you with some water. I want to feed you with a cake. And I want to tell you that there's more in you than what you think. I want to encourage you to know that there are thousands of people who are waiting for you to arrive in your destiny. There is a Jezebel, there is an Ahab that God wants you to take out. Come on. Come on. There is some sort of belief system. There is some sort of demonic force that God has raised you up to take out. And God has need of you. And so it's time to gird yourself up, right? Forget about what happened yesterday. We're moving into a new year. And it's time to realize, man, right? I'm not giving up. I'm not letting discouragement cause me to delay my actions. Now I want you to get this because a lot of people say, how have you experienced so much success? I mean, because I started experiencing a lot of success at a very young age. How did you do it? And I think the number one skill I have is my ability to face discouragement, to have negative things happen to me and be able to move away from it fast. In my early age, when I would get discouraged, and I'm going to tell you, this happens to all of you. I get discouraged, something negative, somebody would say something bad about me, things didn't turn out like I wanted to. Watch this. When I was discouraged, I would check out for the day. Now, I know none of y'all ever have done this. None of y'all ever have done this, right? Something bad happens, and then, oh man, I got to go process this. And yet you got work to do during the day. You know what? And it can come from many angles, right? And all of a sudden, you have all this work to do that day. Now something negative happened. Now you're checked out for the day because you're discouraged. And discouragement can cause you to check out for an hour. It can cause you to check out for the day. It can cause you to check out for the week. It can cause you to check out for the month. It can cause you to check out for a whole year. It can cause you to check out for the rest of the days of your life. That's what Elijah did. He was at the point where his discouragement was so bad, he's like, let me just check out of life itself. Lean into me here. part of getting your momentum back is increasing your ability to decrease the frequency in which discouragement kills your next hour, your next day, your next week, your next month, and your next year. I want that to sink in because this is huge. Getting your momentum back is all about you increasing your ability to face discouragement and pivot quick. Many of you have moved forward in your life and you hit some roadblocks. Things didn't turn out like you wanted it to. And you experienced some discouragement and you haven't pivoted. Now, you say, well, how can I stop this? All right, here's what I want you to think about. I want you to change how you think about this. If you didn't believe in your dreams, you couldn't get discouraged. If you weren't reaching for more, you can't get discouraged. Are you following me? The very fact that you're discouraged is proof that you are a 5%er. That you have this dream, that you're going for this dream, that you're reaching for high achievement. And this is what I tell myself. I said, wait a minute. People who are do-nothing people, they don't get discouraged because they're not going for anything. But the fact that I am discouraged right now is proof I'm a 5%er. Do you see how that changes my mentality? Right away it shifts. It's like, wait a minute. I'm experiencing this right now because I'm pushing for something better, bigger than me. And as soon as I think that, I say, I got to take action right now. I got to get back in the game. I got to show up because people are watching me. People right now are watching. When I had my heart attack, I mean, they rolled me out of the room where they looked at my heart. And right there in the room, they told me, hey, you need a quintuple bypass surgery. I rolled me out of the room. Tears are in my eyes. And within 10 minutes, when I heard the negativity, I pivoted. Yes, it hit me hard. It was a kick in the gut. But I quickly pivoted within a few hours. I was like, I'm getting through this, and I'm going to come through stronger than ever before. When COVID hit, and in a matter of 1 month, my whole schedule for 2 years was canceling like dominoes falling. My team quit on me. I'm looking at my garage as a pile of 25 years of helping people, serving people, all in a garage. I'm looking up towards heaven saying, God, is this how this all ends? But from that moment of great discouragement, I flipped the switch. My friends, it's a matter of flipping the switch. I flipped the switch and said, wait a minute. I am not going to allow this to beat me. This is an opportunity for me to rise again, stronger, better, wiser. And I walked out of that garage, ladies and gentlemen, and I pivoted and I changed. I didn't wait to see what was going to happen with COVID. We made changes. I made adjustments, and it all turned out for my good. Why? I didn't let it last. I didn't let it last a bunch of years. I only allowed it to last a few minutes. So don't let discouragement get you to a place where you lose that hour. That you walk away from the office and say, well, I'm done. Now you just lost a whole day. Lost a whole week. Lost a whole year. Get back in the game. Discouragement causes you to stop showing up. It causes you to stop taking action. It causes you to move into procrastination where, man, I'll get to it later. You lose that sense of urgency. And discouragement's going to hit you with lies. Maybe I'm just not enough. Maybe I reached the apex of my life. Maybe this is all over. Maybe it's not the time for me to go big with my life. Maybe it's later on. What I want you to do is start saying to yourself when you face discouragement, I want to succeed. That's why I'm feeling this way. Oh man. Can we just unmute ourselves and just say, I want to succeed. That's why I'm feeling this way. Come on, that helps me so much. Let's say it again. I want to succeed. That's why I'm feeling this way. Because I'm a 5%er. Because I'm a 5%er. So say, self, get back in the game. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's do it, right? Let's do it. Because what's the truth? The truth is, I am enough. I'm getting ready to hit you all with something big right now. Are you with me? Everybody say, I am enough. All right, watch this. God named himself, I am. I want you to think about this. Think about this. God named himself, I am. When you say I am, you are taking on the name of God. Oh, help me here. Oh, oh, help me. Whatever follows I am is shaping what you think about yourself and what you think about God. When you say I am enough, he's Jehovah Jireh, my provider. He is enough, right? I am strong. I am powerful. I am intelligent. I am successful. Whenever you attach a name after I am that does not associate with God, you're taking the Lord's name in vain. When you start talking, I'm pitiful, I'm tired, I'm ugly. That ain't God. That ain't God. You're taking the Lord's name in vain. You're taking the name of the Lord and you're using it in vain. You are in Christ. Everything God is, you are. So get your I ams back, right? I am powerful. I am smart. I have not reached my apex in life. I am an achiever. I am a winner. It's my time. That's what I want you to start doing. Number 3, the third thing is get out of this waiting mentality. Your number one enemy to achievement and wealth is delay. Delay. When you look at the big scheme of all of this, in 2020, everybody was saying, man, now's the time to get clear. It's a time to dream. It's a time to imagine. Even though 2020 is not perfect vision, 2015 is, but the messages was going out. And people started to dream. People started to write goals. And what happened? The enemy comes to try to crush and delay those dreams from happening. And I want you just to think about it for a moment. It's been 3 years, ladies and gentlemen. It's been 3 years. And we've got to realize, whoa, wait a minute. It's been 3 years since these lockdowns. Wait a minute. We're past the elections. We're past all this stuff. And we got to realize that waiting is no longer. If we stay and wait, we're never going to see things happen in our life. We got to get out of that mode. And we got to get into the productivity mode. It's time to move now. It's time to act now. Because trust me, the enemy is going to keep throwing one thing after the next thing after the next thing to try to get you to be in inertia, to have no momentum. So if you're in maintaining or you're in maintenance mode, here's what the words they're going to say. Settle. Just settle for what you have. Slow down. Take it easy. You're working too hard. That's maintenance and maintaining people. But if we're over here in momentum, we're thinking 10x. How can I 10x my life? 10x my income? 10x my impact? 10x the difference that I'm going to make? 10x my business? 10x my ministry? How can I 10x the amount of times I speak to people this year? If you're in momentum, you're thinking fast. If you're in momentum, you're thinking, we're taking over. We're not taking sides. So get out of the waiting mentality. Let's dream big, believe big, and it's time to act. Number 4, identify what naturally energizes you. Oh man, this is important. Energy is what you need to get momentum back. And one of the ways to get your energy back is realizing that every person on the planet gets energized by one of 3 things. Either you get energized by setting goals, you get energized by solving problems, or you get energized by opportunities. And not everybody gets energized by the same thing. As a matter of fact, only 15% of people in the world get energized by goals. Just curious, how many of you are energized by setting a goal and going for it? Let me see your hands. How many of you are energized? Be honest now. If you're not on camera, come on camera so I see your hands. How many of you are energized by setting a goal and going for it? Okay. Several of you are. Okay. Several of you. Not everybody. Next, how many of you are energized by, I'm not really energized by setting goals. I love to solve problems, man. I just love to solve problems. That's me. Okay, look at this. Catherine, look at, oh yeah. Okay, now we got more hands. Because that's 80% of the world. I'm not interested in setting a goal. I just want to solve problems. Then the other one is opportunities. You're an opportunist. Now those are people who I'm looking for an opportunity, and if I can look for an opportunity and seize it, I want it. How many of you are opportunists? That's me. I'm opportunist. Okay, see? So we're energized by different things, right? So if you could picture football, if you're a goal person, you're an offensive person. You want to get down and score a touchdown. If you're a problem person, you're what? You're defense. You want to solve the problem, keeping the quarterback from getting down there. You're looking for the problems. If you're opportunist, you're kickoff. You're or you're receiving, right? Like I want to be the one that carries the ball from the 1 yard line and goes all the way down and touchdown. I want to kick the winning goal. That's what I want to do. That's opportunist. And so getting your energy back this year, some of you don't need to set a goal. You need to say, man, what kind of really big problems can I solve that will really energize me? And many of you who are called to solve problems, many of you are called to solve a problem, and that's awesome for the season that we're in. at being an infopreneur, finding those problems, offering a solution, creating courses around those problems on how people can fix the problem and solve the problem. You're in a great season. And those of you who set goals, some of you need to 10x your goals. If you haven't set a goal, you need to set a goal to at least become a millionaire. Not for the money or possessions, but for the person you'll have to become. You opportunist out there, you need to say, hey man, what opportunities right in front of my face and what can I seize? You guys ready for the fifth thing? The fifth and final thing that I think is very important for us to, right? To get our momentum back and crush our goals for 2023. Here it is. Get a coach, get clarity, and get a detailed plan on what you're going to do this year. A detailed, written, down on paper. You're not going by the seat of your pants. You're not waiting. First thing is get a coach. I remember when I experienced a certain level of success in my 30s. Success will mess you up. Success will put you in the fog. Once you've achieved a certain level of success, really you get into a comfort zone. You got your house, you got your car, you got a good salary, you're doing all right. But then you tend to stay stuck unless you're moved on by an outside source. I needed a coach to get me out of inertia. Oh yeah, inertia can sometimes still mean you're continuing to do what you do, but you're not in that momentum mode. I need an outside force called a coach to come alongside me and to challenge me at new levels. And we got to ask ourselves in this season, who do we have in our life who's challenging us to stretch what we think is possible in our life? And my friend, if you don't have one of those people, you will never, ever maximize your potential all by yourself. You got to get somebody and reach for somebody who can do that for you. Because the second thing that I said is getting clear. The first thing you got to really do is you got to get your direction back if you're going to get momentum. See, the fastest way to getting to where you need to go is straight. Not zigzag, not curling all around. And that means you need to be clear about exactly where you're going. Clarity is power, and clarity creates acceleration and speed for your life. It gets that momentum back. You can have a fast car, but if you're driving in the fog, you can't hit the accelerator. But if you're clear, now you can hit the accelerator and you can go faster than what you could ever go if you're just in this confusion. I'm unsure, I'm not certain. God wants you to be clear. He said, write the vision, make it plain. And that's also why we need coaches. Because when we're in the picture frame, we can't see the picture frame. We need somebody else to come into our life to help us get the clarity that we need. For me, that was Bob Bill. Bob Bill helped me in a really difficult season in my life get the clarity back that I needed so that the next 10 years after hiring him was the most productive, most financially rewarding, most impactful decade of my life was after I got a coach, I got clear myself, and I laid out a written, not this, I'm just being led by God, I'm just, whatever the Holy Spirit tells me to do. No, you need a plan. The Bible says all throughout this book, make your plans. Plan it out. David had a plan on how to build the tabernacle. God gave him a plan. And he took those plans and he gave them to Solomon and said, here's the plan. He didn't just say, be led by the Lord. So you've got to have a plan. So here's what I want to say. Clarity. Once you get clarity, you get a force. And you get acceleration. And now you break the powers of inertia off your life. Because you're going to stay the same unless you're moved by an outside force. What forces do you want moving you? God, through revelation, showing you a picture that's bigger than your situation. You need a force of a mentor, a coach, to come alongside you and to stretch you and to challenge you. The third thing you need is you need the force of your internal why. Your why am I doing this? And that's your massive action plan. You need these outside forces to move you now into 2023. And here's the warning. It's the law of thermodynamics. It's called the law of entropy. And it says this: anything left to itself will stagnate or move towards disorder over time. Anything left to itself stagnates and moves towards disorder or decline over time. Wow. It's also one of Murphy's laws. Left to yourself, things tend to go wrong. There's my 5 things. Now I'm going to encourage you. One of the reasons why I set up Fast Win Weekend, January 13th and the 14th, was because of this concept that I just knew people needed. They need a coach. They need to get clear. We need to really sit down and work on a strategic plan on creating, designing a great year. And so for 2 days, if you haven't heard about it yet, I want to let you know. For 2 days, I want you to come down to Florida, hang out with me for 2 days. For 2 days, we are going to focus you in on getting clear, writing out your plan, getting the right thoughts. And I want you to come spend 2 days with me. It's only a handful of people. We're already sold out. I'm opening up 2 more spots. All right? It's a small group of people. I'm opening up 2 more spots. The link is down below. I think Janine, can you post that link? You will see that the time has expired on this site, but there's 2. I'm opening up for 2 more spots, and it's $1,500 to come down, spend 2 days. And this isn't like a motivational meeting. This isn't a church service. This is a coaching process where we're going to sit down and we're going to focus you in, all right, in a group setting to get you prepared to win in 2023. So if you want to go, click the link. There's 2 spots open. And it's important for you to get away. You got to get out of your environment. And you got to get into an environment that inspires you. That's why I want to bring you to my house. I want to show you a way of living that will inspire you, that will challenge you, that will get you to dream bigger about what's possible for your life. And so we're going to hang out for 2 days. At nighttime, we're going to grill some hot dogs, chill out by the fire, have some personal coaching time. We're going to have dinner. We're going to have lunch together. It's going to be fun. 2 days, the 13th and the 14th. And then you can stay over on the 15th. I'm going to take some guys out. We're going to, I don't know, go fishing or go golfing or something. I don't know. Whatever the guys want to do. And my wife's going to take all the girls down to the outlet mall, go around shopping, have some lunch, and do the things girls like to do. But we basically just have fun together on the Sunday. So the link is below, I believe. Let's give Deborah some love for being authentic and real. We celebrate that here, by the way, if you're here and you're new. We celebrate authenticity when people are real, and we love that here. And you'll find me being very real about my life. And Deborah, here, I think what we got to really understand, right, is, Deborah is saying that, she is discouraged and it's been a really hard 2 months for her, and it's really hard to get back into the flow. And I think when we look at it, we have to realize is that, and I've learned it myself, is that you have to maintain a lifestyle of momentum. And that means that you have to consistently take action. And the key word is consistently. The moment you let off, your momentum begins to go down. And what happens a lot of times, and I think that's why this discouragement thing, right, is that we don't see the results that we want to see, so we get discouraged. And as a thought leader, an author, a coach, a consultant, here's what all of you need to know. You have to go through the valley of the shadow of death. You have to be willing when you first start off, because you don't have momentum. You're just starting something. And it takes more energy, more power, more thrust, more force. When Elon blasts those rockets off, it burns up 80% of his energy at takeoff. Why? Because it's all about getting that force going, getting that power going, so they have momentum to break through the atmosphere. And what happens is we go through the valley of nobody's listening to us, nobody's showing up to our little meetings that we have. Nobody's joining our challenge. I got 5 people at my challenge. and you've got to be willing to go through the valley of the shadow of death of nothing seems to be happening, and stay consistent through that valley until momentum happens. One of my mentors, he uses something he calls the power of 100. I'm still wrapping my mind around this. And he says, what I did when I was at my lowest, because he was in with his mother-in-law too. He said, what I did when I was at my lowest is I grabbed onto the power of 100. He said, I'm going to do 100 things every day to grow my business. I'm like, whoa. Then he says, if I can't do 100 things that day, I invest $100 that day in marketing my business. And I thought, wow, that's pretty deep. And the key word is consistency. Like, you got to keep it up. And I bet if you look at what happened, go back and learn from what happened. You stayed on a constant path, got discouraged. That's why I said, don't let discouragement move you into delay. Listen, everybody, this is a calling. This is a calling. Some of you as entrepreneurs, you get that with a pastor. You get that a pastor can't, the church isn't growing, so he quits next week. I'm not going to preach on Sunday, I'm discouraged. You'd say, what are you doing, Pastor? This is a calling. You can't just uncall yourself. Right? That'd be ridiculous. But some of you as entrepreneurs don't see that this is a calling for your life. And every day you got to show up as that warrior, as that captain, as that leader. You got to show up with excitement. You got to show up with enthusiasm. And nobody cares. Nobody cares what you've been going through, what you've been facing. Nobody cares that your best friend just died in a car accident. Nobody cares. But if you let off that accelerator because of life's trials, of things that hit you, the big warning you got to realize, you got to say, I'm going to lose a little bit of momentum I have. It doesn't all come at once. It's a gradual thing. And force, and pressure has to come. But once it gets moving, you can't let off. And that's how many people lose, like on the other side of that, that's how many people lose it, because I've experienced this. I've been in that season of momentum and then gone, man, I'm just going to ride the waves. And guess what happens when you ride the waves? The waves end up crashing into shore. you better get back on your surfboard and start paddling back out and catch another wave. So consistency. And Deborah, listen, I've faced that myself. I've done that myself. And then building back that audience. Once you stop and say, well, I'm going to take a month off. Now you lost the audience that you did have. Now you got to gain momentum all over again. And it's not God's fault. It's not the devil's fault. It's just we took off the accelerator. And now you got to rebuild. So that's the caution, man. Once you start something, this is not something I'm just going to slap at. And in the last 3 years, you've seen me pivot and try different things and do different things myself. And every time I did that, I would have to keep building back. So before you start something, you need to be clear. What am I going to do? What's my weapon I'm going to master? That I'm going to be the most consistent person on the planet. I don't care who shows up, nobody shows up. I'm showing up as a leader. And I will do this until I go to my grave. That's like the kind of level of commitment that you got to have. Most of you are experiencing discouragement. And then what you're doing, instead of thinking like a contributor, you start consuming. So meaning you get discouraged and you start surfing social media. And a lot of your time is taken up by social media and you're losing momentum because momentum doesn't come by consumption. That's not productivity. Productivity is not intake, it's an outtake. You want to start putting out. That's how you get known. But a lot of people get in discouragement, so they just intake, flip through the phone, watch TV, play video games. So you got to watch yourself on that. And just say, Deborah, no social media until after 12. Then I'm going to check it, and I'm going to set my alarm. I'm only going to give myself maybe 20 minutes. Respond to people I need to respond to, do what I need to do there, and then I'm out. And I'm telling you, that time from, if you stay off and you focus on your business and take that challenge of 100 people. Like, who are 50 people online that I need to reach out to? For 50 people in my area I need to reach out to. Who am I calling? I got this 8 to 12 where I want to maximize my time. What are 100 things I can do every day? And I know that may seem wow. It seems wow to me. But let that stretch you. All right, so maybe not 100. How about 50? So right now, in my case, I'm thinking, what am I going to do for 100? Well, $100 a day in marketing. Okay, bam. What other 100 things do can I do to grow my brand? Great question. Let's give her a hand clap. Good question. In general, always know, no matter what you're doing in life, it's always going to cost you more than what you thought it was. Yeah, it's always. Whether you're building a house, you're buying a car, you're building a business, it's always going to cost you way more than what you think. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the key in building a business is acceleration, fast. So what we all want to do is we want to shorten the learning curve, right? If we can take the learning curve, it should take us 5 years, and we can shorten it down to 6 weeks. How much money is that going to save us? It's going to save us money. It's going to save us time. We're going to be able to make money during that 4.5 years that it would take us to learn all of this. So this is why getting a mentor, a coach, and getting into a right training program is really essential. So like I'll just say it, like a lot of your things that you pointed out, Kathleen, we cover in detail in 83K Academy. So like you wouldn't have needed all of those people if you would have went through 83K Academy. It's like the one-stop shop for everything that the coaches need to get their books out there. We give you the frameworks. We give you everything that you need to not need 1,000 different coaches paying you money. So, but absolutely, before you start a business, and this is a big mistake entrepreneurs make, and especially when we get around people talk about multiple sources of income, is they rush out like I'll give you, for instance, it's not like in our industry. People watch the flipping shows and say, I'm gonna work my job, I'm gonna go flip houses. They don't get any training. I think there's even one show with one guy. He like comes after they've already messed up. They paid too much for the house. They, you know, and he basically gets them out of the mud puddle, right? And that's what people do. People like, you know, go into something, but if you're going to go into something, find somebody who's already done it and go through their training and get all the understanding you could get before you start, right? And so like think on a practical level. If you say, hey, I want to be an airplane pilot, you wouldn't just go down to my local strip down here and go in and jump into a Cessna and say, I'm going to take off and go fly around the world. And then say, hey, also I'm going to take my family with me. Right? You wouldn't do that. What do you got to do if you want to go be a pilot?
Get some lessons and get certified.
Yeah, you better get some lessons. You better get certified. And yet, if you think from this from a practical point of view, you would tell that dude, you're an idiot, man. You're going to go and fly, and not only are you going to put your life at risk, you want to take your family on that plane when you don't know how to fly? Are you crazy? And yet I see that's what entrepreneurs do all the time. It's like I'm going to step out and I'm going to do this. And it's like, yeah, well, if you're on a diving board and you want to jump, you better look down first and make sure there's some water down there. And yet people do it all the time. And then they crash and burn. And they say, well, God, where were you? God, why didn't you help me? Or they move into the other mode of, devil, you stopped me. You did this to me. And it's like, no, man. If you look at common sense and reality, you say, no, you're an idiot. You didn't study the field. You didn't study about flipping houses. You didn't, and now here's where you're at. And so the warning to all of us here is make sure that whatever thing you're trying to do, that you first invest the money in yourself to get the knowledge and the understanding, so you're really super clear about all that stuff. And the more you know going into something, the better off you'll be. I was down in Atlantis, and they had these big yachts out back behind our room. And I was walking down the back part of it, and I asked this guy, I said, he's this guy cleaning the boat. I said, who owns that boat? And he says, the guy is blah, 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 but he doesn't actually own the boat. His corporation owns the boat. I'm like, how does that work? Oh, yeah. He says, yeah, these guys, none of these boats are owned by individual people. They all get their corporations to buy it. Then they take these boats and they wine and dine the big people, and they use them, and their business pays for the whole thing. Yeah, that's interesting. So most people don't realize that really, really wealthy people are actually, if you look at the books, they don't have no money. But they have control. Control of the money. That's the name of the game. All right, let's take another, who do we say? Margaret. Great.
I drove it back home and I pivoted. And I got myself back in the game because I knew that I would never get anywhere if I kept going in that direction. So I knew I had to make a change, but I didn't understand the process. I was going through the process, but I didn't quite understand the process until you put it all in perspective today. Now I see exactly what stage I was in, what stage I was going through, and where I am now. And I went ahead and pivoted and got back on track and reset up my appointment. But now because it's the holidays, it's going to be next year. But I'm back on track, I'm getting things going. I'm doing what I need to do. But if I had just laid and wallowed in that disappointment, I wouldn't have gotten anywhere. The guy said he could fix my car after Christmas. But I wouldn't have gotten anywhere. He might can fix that car after Christmas, but I got a car I'm owning. I'm back on track now. I'm setting up appointments. I'm getting things done. But it's good to look at it and see those stages so that you won't go that way. And another thing, I believe you told us this in another class or something. Success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. And if you keep driving cars that break down, you're not going to get people to follow you anywhere. You got to get something that's going to be up and going. And then because people have started saying, oh, I heard you got that. And then they start saying, well, tell me about this and tell me about that. So it's opening doors, to talk to people. So the teaching was phenomenal for me today because it expressed to me the things that I have been going through and the path that I need to take and where I am now. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's give her a hand clap. That's good. We're proud of you. We're proud of you. But I'm so proud of you that you persevered, you got through it. But I want you to think this through, everybody, okay? Here's another story, right? And we talked about discouragement and how part of getting your momentum back is increasing your ability to decrease the frequency in which discouragement kills your next hour, day, week, month, or year. How many of you saw in that story how she allowed it to delay her? Did everybody hear that? So even though her car broke down, and she said, well, I can't go to my speaking engagement. What did she allow? She allowed delay for her to make money. Well, now if that were me, Margaret, I wouldn't have been like, oh, happy day, 2 of my cars just broke down, right? But if that would have been me, I would have said, okay, well, I need to call some friend and say, hey, you want to go help me? I'm doing a speaking engagement and I need an assistant to help me. Can you come pick me up and take me to the thing? Because I'd like you to come along with me. Or I'd say, how about, I'm just going to call Uber, man. I'm going to call Uber, let Uber come in and pick me up, take me to the engagement. See, I'm going to ride my bicycle if I have to. I'm going to walk if I have to. I'm going to hitchhike on the side of the road if I have to, right? So discouragement, in this story, discouragement, and it happens to all of us. So I'm not, please, I just want us to see things, we all do this, but see things as, man, if I could move from discouragement faster, I don't allow my life to delay. And it could be, I'm not saying, God worked it out. At the end of the day, it's all good. But, as far as your car, but you could have had maybe another $2,000 in your pocket. You could have missed out on a client that you could have had going into the first of the year simply because of this, not having the skill to pivot quicker. You pivoted better than what you would have. Because you would have, am I right, Margaret? That would have caused you to delay for 6 months. It had been a year, right? And you would have wallowed in that. And now you're like, you realized it. It hit you a little bit. But I just want you to see it could have been even faster. And so I think this is why this is really important. Let's give Margaret a hand clap. So good, so good. Good question. Let's give Ro a hand clap. That's a very good question. It's always, when you got a ministry and you're trying to build a business. I think the day for me that changed my life when I realized both of them were one. That there was no separation. And everything I do is ministry. And so I think that's a mindset that has to change. And you have to make it one. Because as long as you have two tracks, you got division. Right? A kingdom divided against itself won't stand. So you need to bring unification into the message. And it's not ministry business, it's my message. This is who I am. And maybe just making that shift in your mind may help you a lot. But if you got two different things going on, then you got to kind of look at, okay, I've got to focus on the one that, I think the best thing for you to look at, and I think all of us as coaches and leaders and Christian entrepreneurs, I think all of us need to be asking ourselves, like this is one of the things that my coach asks me every year. Keith, what was last year's rocket? What was last year's rocket? Like what generated a lot of money for you that was really good? And then he would say, then you take the rocket and say, how can I maximize that? So meaning if your business is really great, what you need to do is focus on maximizing that rocket and realize that your ministry is only philanthropy. Or if you say, my ministry was my rocket, then okay, I'm going to focus on that. So you got to make sure that, whatever has less than 60% of your focus guarantees that what you're doing is mediocre. Like a lot of these questions people get all concerned about. Whatever you write is copywritten the minute you write it. A lot of people don't understand that. And the truth of the matter is, if you're going to try to chase down every little thing you think is so important, you're just going to pull your hair out. People get so caught up, oh, someone's going to steal. I mean, come on, man, you ain't that important. You probably got it from somebody else anyways, right? I mean, and how are you taking that? If someone takes what you did and uses it, are you going to come from a place of abundance or a place of scarcity? If you search the internet for confidence coach, you will find thousands of confidence coaches who stole my brand. I look at that and I think how proud I am of myself. Right? I look at that as an honor that someone would see my brand and want to copy it. I developed thousands of confidence coaches and I didn't have to do nothing. But basically everything's copywritten the moment you write something. And if you really want to sue them, do all that kind of stuff, you can do it. But if you really think about it, isn't the point that you're trying to get your message out there? So I always look at it as, hey, I got some evangelists out there working on my behalf to get my message out. Thank you. and I don't have to pay him for it. To me, it's just the message. Does everybody get that? That's like coming from a place of abundance versus coming from, that this won't get you anywhere. Just being a giver, getting the message out as much as far and as wide as I can possibly get it. That's been my theme my whole life. Good questions, good dialogue, Ro. All right. Just want to make sure we don't have anybody else with a question. And Mary, are you online? Is Mary online? Maybe she's not. Okay. So just to recap before we close out, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you took good notes on this. Don't forget Wealthy Church on Sunday mornings. I'll see you on Christmas. Man, we can all join together on Christmas. Hopefully I'll see you online. We also have Wealthy Church on Clubhouse. So every Sunday we'll be on Clubhouse on that. Fast Win Weekend. Pray about, consider coming down. We got 2 seats left. Come hang out with me a couple days. Exposure is transformational. Trust me, just being exposed. I'm telling you, I know what's coming up with this. This is going to so transform your life. You're going to be like, wow. Being exposed to something bigger and a higher level, it will inspire you beyond what you ever can imagine. So consider coming down with that. Then take a note, Fast Money Challenge, January 1 through 5. All of those of you who've been through 83K Academy, you should be a part of this every single day. And I'm going to maybe bring some of you on and just, talk about where you were before 83K Academy, what you discovered, how you discovered your message, and where you are now. So I may call you in. So be a part of that and join in with that. So those are the 3 things for Wealth Tribe. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for being a part. Thanks for all my inner circle. Merry Christmas. Go create a great year. Smash those goals. Conquer that demon of discouragement, okay? Don't be like Elijah. Oh, I want to just kill myself and I'm going to quit. No. You're a warrior. You're a winner. You're a captain. You're an overcomer. Come on. Are you hearing me? You got to show up for 2023, right? Show up as a model. Get writing your books. Get creating your programs. Get moving, making phone calls. Get moving on social media. Decide you're going to do something consistently every day to market who you are, what's going on. Get attention. Put good things out in the universe this year on a massive scale to help other people. I'm doing it. I'm revving up. I want you to do it too. And watch. You'll get your momentum back. You get one little victory after the next little victory, right? Like Deborah said, ooh, I got a phone call. How's she feeling? Ooh, man, I got an opportunity coming, right? But then if you don't get another one, then you'll be like, I got that opportunity, but but then you say, oh man, I got that opportunity. Oh man, I got another one. Oh man, I got another one. Oh man. And then what happens to that? Now you start getting momentum back. Now the engines are fired up. Now you're like, woo, can't wait till tomorrow. What's going to happen tomorrow? And you start getting your momentum back. Hey, you guys enjoy this today? I hope you did. I hope you did. I hope you did. All right. God bless everybody. Have a great holiday. Watch out for your crazy relatives. Come on, watch out for your crazy relatives. Right? Right? I'm telling you, them crazy relatives, man, they'll come talk trash about you, say bad things about you, bring a spirit of doom and gloom, right? They're going to be talking down on this level. Don't go down to their level. Don't talk about the economy and how bad it is. Refuse to enter into all those conversations. You're going to thrive in 2023. You're not going to talk about that junk. You're going to talk about where you're going, what's happening. Come on, right? And after you talk to them about 5 minutes, they're going to be like, hey, it's time to go. You're going to say, good. Hasta la vista, baby. That's what they're going to do here. That's what they're going to do in my house. They ain't going to hang around me too long because I'm going to be fired up and be positive. All right? God bless everybody. I love all.